Hey guys, welcome to another Road to Nihon. This is my second part of my story and journey to moving to Japan from the United States. As I had mentioned in my previous episode or vlog, whatever you may call it, I'm a 32-year-old American man who decided about a year ago that I was going to leave the United States indefinitely by moving to Japan. And how I planned to do that was by going to university in Japan, or more so transferring from here to university in Japan and staying to start my own business there after I complete my degree. So basically the purpose of this blog is more so for some sort of video documentation as to my process and how I went about doing this. And I'm going to be continually releasing maybe 1 or 2 episodes a month up until my departure date, and most likely continue when I arrive and document the process of me arriving and the challenges and excitements and everything that I end up experiencing and facing. But yeah, anyways, so I'm just checking in, and over the past couple of weeks it's been finals in school. One of the courses I'm taking is Japanese, Nihongo, and I'm in the second variation of that course out of 3. And I had just completed 2 written oral exams yesterday, and the day before I did a Japanese speaking test, basically, where my sensei asked me 20 questions and I had to answer in perfect Japanese back you know, whatever I felt like the right answer was to the questions I was being asked. So that was fun. And my other 2 classes that I'm taking, Communications 101, because I'm actually a communications major. I actually did pretty good in that class. I got a, not bragging, I got a 99.95, just a pesky 0.5 points away from 100. And the other class I had to take was a math-based course because I bombed math in high school, and now I am dealing with that basically now as an adult. Good news, it was my last prerequisite math course, and now I have 1 final math course to do this coming quarter, and I should be done. And then I can fold other things that are related to my area of study, basically. So everything's gone kind of without a hitch the last month or so since my previous video, except for I've noticed ever since I decided that I was going to move to Japan, I've become hyper aware or increasingly sensitive to the things that really bother me about the United States. I don't know if this is true across the board or perhaps just the city that I live in, but a lot of the passive-aggressive and entitled acts that I see on a day-to-day basis really just grind on me. One particularly the other day that I saw that was just kind of mind-boggling, and I hope that it doesn't represent the American people on a whole, but I was sitting on the bus. I take public transit, and I was on the front seat of the bus, and the bus was backed up in traffic. The traffic in Seattle is notoriously bad. There are certain times of day where this is increasingly worse, but this happened to be probably around noon, and I'm sitting on the bus, and I hear some lady, we're sitting in traffic. It's been, you know, maybe a minute we've been sitting in traffic. We're in the downtown part of Seattle, almost to the first bus stop, because there's no bus stops on the freeway in between where I live and downtown Seattle. So we're maybe about 6 blocks away from the first bus stop, in traffic, sitting in traffic. And I hear this lady go, "Excuse me," like, and barges from the middle of the bus up to the front, trips over a gentleman who's just patiently standing, holding onto a railing, because there's nowhere to sit, it's so full. And she trips over his feet, she turns around. "You really should make sure your feet are tucked in a little bit more because it's really dangerous if somebody's trying to walk by. This guy was doing his best. He was tucked against the side of the bus, clearly out of the walkway. This lady was just so frustrated. She didn't see his feet and tripped over his feet. So she trips over this guy, reprimands him for tripping over him, basically. And then she proceeds to demand to the bus driver, "I'm going to be late for work. Can you let me off the bus here?" Mind you, the bus drivers are supposed to adhere to rules. They're not supposed to, for safety reasons, let people off downtown or anywhere for that matter, not where the bus is not near a curb and not at a bus stop. So not only were we not at a curb, we weren't at a bus stop, we were basically in the middle of traffic. And I think the bus driver deduced within like a split second that letting this lady off the bus would have been easier than telling her his spiel about why he couldn't. So he proceeds to open the door and let her off. So, I mean, I'm not bothered by the fact that somebody wanted to get off the bus early, okay? That's a normal human reaction when they're pressed for time. But the way the lady asked for it, like, it was all about her. "I'm late for work. Can you let me off the bus because I'm late for work?" You know, like, her schedule is imposed on everyone else. You know, like, it's not my fault, lady, that you're late for work. It's not the bus driver's fault. If you thought you were going to be late for work, you should have taken the bus, the previous bus, not cut it that close. You know, assuming that this lady works in Seattle, she knows about the traffic. You know, it's not like all of a sudden the traffic just got bad on one day. The traffic is notoriously bad. If you're cutting it that close, you know, you should hop an earlier bus. You should just, you know, use some foresight and be like, okay, you know, maybe there could be traffic. And so it wasn't the fact that, you know, the lady charged to the front of the bus or was like very visibly distressed about the fact that she was going to be late. It was just that the pure audacity that she had to make it other people's problem that she was late. You know, like, you're a grown adult. Plan accordingly. You know, and don't try to inconvenience other people, or don't inconvenience other people because your perception of your life is the utmost important, and it was the only thing that matters. And this attitude permeates American culture. It's all about me. It's my life. My life is the central focus of the universe and the most important. So these things kind of bother me. As you can tell, I got pretty riled up, but you know, I notice something like that happen maybe once or twice a week, and it's okay. People, you know, some people may say, okay, well, what about the other people that don't do stuff like that? It's like, okay, well, that's fine. But those people don't stand out. And I hate to say, but like interactions like that, or just like people like that. And I know that things and people, like, nothing's going to be perfect in Japan. I don't ever believe that it will be. But I'm just so sick of the entitlement and the individuality of Americans because they believe that just their life is the most important thing. You know, like, I believe that, you know, part of the issue in this country is that based on that notion, you know, the individuality is great. It's great to be able to express yourself and to pursue whatever path you want. But when it affects other people, that's when there should be a line drawn, and, you know, you should have some consideration for other people. The poor bus driver and that poor guy she tripped over, and I was like, they're just minding their own business. It's not their fault. But anyways, so I made it through my finals. I'm waiting for the second quarter, or actually third quarter for that matter, to come up. And I have just a week off where I'm basically just doing absolutely nothing as much as I can. Barring going out to take photos, because the lens I'm using right now, it's a Sony G Master 24mm 1.4 aperture, and I'm primarily a photographer, and I really just can't wait to get that lens out on the street and take some street portraits. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. If any of you guys have any similar stories or like situations where you were just kind of mind blown as to how selfish and self-absorbed people have been in your presence, feel free to leave them in the comments, because I love to hear about it. It's kind of funny. It's kind of I feel like validation in a way for, you know, what I'm doing is going to be the right move for me, because for some reason I'm hypersensitive to things like that, and I'm not easily offended, but I just, for somebody who's already made a decision to leave, to like see things like this occur on a daily basis, it kind of just fortifies in my mind that I'm making the right decision. And like I said before, I don't expect everything to be perfect where I'm going, in Tokyo for that matter. But I'd like to think that on a whole, at least Japanese society practices an importance or stresses an emphasis on politeness, and or at least presenting a polite front and the idea that you're being considerate for others. Anyways, this has been Matt. Road to Nihon. Thanks.